Hi, are you a landlord who has many rental properties turning over this rental season? I know I am. I have at least three that are turning over, either for renewal or one in particular that I'm going to talk about today, where it's a primary residence that I'm converting into a rental property. Now, I want to talk specifically today about how military by owner helped me with this process because this particular rental property is smack dab in the middle of three different military installations. And this is important to a landlord, whether you're a service member or not, because you don't have to be a service member to list your properties for sale or for rent on military by owner. So I knew that this property I wanted to list a little bit ahead of the peak rental season. And so I had to consider my market. I do study the pricing, the rental prices and the sales prices for all my markets all throughout the year. So I feel like I have a really strong base for what my competition pricing is, as well as what homes will or won't be for rent in the peak season. So I knew I wanted to list this property ahead of time. I know that it is right in the middle of some military installations, but I live in it. So you can check out our video about rental property photography and see some tips and tricks for how I accomplish getting photos of my house while I'm living in it to list it as a rental. Nothing that is insurmountable. Are they the perfect pictures? Absolutely not. Was there snow on the ground when I, took the pictures? Yes. When I move all of my stuff out of the house and it's completely empty and the carpets have been cleaned and the walls have been painted or touched up, am I going to have a professional photographer come take photos? Absolutely. But like I said, I needed to get this house on the market because with three houses turning over, plus our family is moving overseas, I have a lot on my plate. So I wanted to get a jump start on this house. And Military by Owner helped me with this because I was able to snap some photos of our property, our house, make a nice write-up, and for a reasonable amount of money, list it. If you stick around to the end of this video, I'll give you a promo code for Military by Owner. They've generously gifted us a promo code to share with you guys. Listing the house early, like I said, has some pros and cons, right? Like there are definitely military members who get their orders and they know they're moving and they want to look at the house, housing market right away. Many of them are planning their trips to come look at the area. So they want to line up homes that may or may not be available. So they're calling and asking questions. I knew that, like I said, I was comfortable with my pricing. I'm very comfortable with the area because we've lived here for a while. So writing my ad was not that challenging. But I knew I would get some interest. I wasn't sure how much interest I would get. I did get some of the, normal questions that I tend to get every season, which is, you're listing above BAH. For those of you who are not service members, BAH is basic allowance for housing. It's a set of money or a bucket of money per se that the military pays for a housing allowance. It sometimes is or isn't equivalent to what the market will bear. So I do always politely respond to those types of inquiries of if I'm above or below BAH, that I don't set my rent based on BAH, like at all. So what BAH is or isn't is, I don't want to say irrelevant to me, but I definitely study my market based on what places are actually renting for. So that is what it is. I don't tell potential people that. I just say, yes, I know my rent is set above BAH, but at this point in time, I'm not in a position where I need to negotiate rent, but definitely check back with me later. And if it gets to that point, I'll be open for negotiation. So I never close a door, but that is a question that I do sometimes get. Caveat that with, I've also never had a problem renting out my houses for the rent that I set. So I know that people are just putting feelers out there and maybe looking for that super good deal. And that just may not be the deal that I can offer because my market doesn't make me need to offer it, if that makes sense. So I did get, some people asking me, well, do you have a lot of interest? And I said, interest means nothing to me either, because people can call and be interested all day long. They can ask questions. They can even schedule a time to come look at the property. But until I have a security deposit that's cashed and a lease that is signed, my house is open to the public. So if people want to stop by, they can. If they want me to do Zoom, video calls through, I'm happy to do that. If they want photos of certain, parts of the house, I'm happy to do that. But my house is always on the market until that security deposit has cleared the bank and the lease is signed. So when people call and ask if I've had a lot of interest, that's usually just what I share with people. Now I was ready this, even though I was listing early, I was ready. I had my, my bank accounts already set up, the proper bank accounts already set up. My lease was written, and my application was ready to go. And at 19 days after I listed this house on Military by Owner, I have a signed lease. Yay! I have a security deposit cleared. Yay! I feel super confident in my process as a landlord. Now it's taken me many years to fine tune this, especially geared towards my markets and my houses and things like that. How I file and keep myself organized, things like that. But as far as like establishing the rental price and making the listing and getting the application and screening the tenants and having the lease, I'm an owner manager, so I have to have my list of vendors and maintenance contracts and things like that set up. I feel super confident in that. Again, some of that comes with learning lessons the hard way, things the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. But this was a great success with Military by Owner and listing this house early. And I just wanted to share that with you and just see what other, like pinch points maybe you guys are having this season. Now, I've shared everything that I know or that I know that you should do in the description below. I've also shared a link in the description below for a 10% off promo code to Military by Owner. Landlord Help Hub, we have different courses. We do have different course bundles that are, include things like how to price and list your property, how to screen tenants and how to write a lease, landlord bookkeeping, just some basic bookkeeping things that you should know, and how to renew a lease. And I can say that all of those courses and everything that's talked about in those courses, I used in this like 20-day process of leasing out this particular property, as well as submitting renewals for the 2 other properties that I have turning over this season, all while juggling that with an overseas move for my own family. So it's all about the process and what you have set up. Now, this particular property also, the tenants, they want a trampoline. So I would say another course that is very beneficial is the insurance for landlords. So I felt confident enough in negotiating a trampoline at this property based on what I know about insurance. So let me know how your rental season is going. What successes have you had with Military by Owner, whether you use it if you're a service member or just a landlord who has property near military installations. I know that I had great success, so I just wanted to share that with you guys and let you know that, the listing early on Military by Owner really paid off for me this go round. Good luck.